Today I'll be working on this 2011 Chrysler Town and Country. I will be doing just the oil change and the trans drain and fill. So a couple of things to remember. This is only a front wheel drive, so it doesn't have T-case or differential. And the way you check trans fluid, I wish I did this before. There's a little place for dipstick right underneath here. Right here, I don't know if you can see this. And is between the engine and the battery. It has a cap that says for dealer use only. So you will need, it doesn't come with a dipstick. That guy's recording me recording the work. You will have to buy a dipstick from eBay, Amazon, whatever. It comes with this number. It's hard to hold. It's got numbers on it. This is numbers of measurement in millimeter, not temperature or anything. You could also use engine oil dipstick and then make some marking on the other side. There are videos to figure out how to do that, but I went and bought this because I wanted to. So basically what you do is you slide the whole thing in as far as it goes. It doesn't go all the way, obviously, because it will only go about a foot or so, not 3 foot. Once it stops, you take it out, you measure it, and make sure you look at the actual trans fluid temperature. And from what I understand, the range should be between 40 millimeter to 55 millimeter as a normal operating temperature, which I think was 163 degree or something like that. I don't remember. I'll look it up again. So we're gonna drain. We have to take the pan off. That's why I have it lifted. We'll drop the pan, drain it out, then clean the pan, take out the magnet, clean everything out, make the gasket out of RTV, then let it cure and install it like it's supposed to. Wait 1 hour before you hand tie it, then wait overnight, then you torque it down. So I'm going to start with that. Then I'm going to start draining the oil, so this way I have the time to let it cure for an hour before I leave it overnight. All right, now I'm going to get started. So this is the transmission pan. I thought it would be huge because last one I did was on a Jeep, and this isn't so bad. That looks like 8 mil. I'll find out soon what it really is. And all that extra grease, don't worry about it. It's good for you. It's not, I'm joking. We gotta figure out where that's coming from. But I'm gonna start with cleaning this out with some brake cleaners. Then I'm gonna start draining this. You started the video?
Yeah.
So I'm going to loosen this side just a little bit. Not take it off completely. By the way, I do not recommend using impact because bad things happens, but I'm gonna do it because I'm lazy. Now I'm gonna remove the rest completely. If I could see this side, there we go. It is 8 millimeter. Somebody's in my way, but that's okay. So this is a critical point. We are down to our last one. So I have 3 of them loosened. I'll remove this. So I have this one loosened, that one loosened, everything else removed, one still on there. Now we're going to drain this. And I got a flat screwdriver. I'm going to leverage this if I can. I didn't completely anticipate that, but there's a reason why I did this outdoor and not in my garage. so I don't worry about my spilling all the trans fluid. That wasn't quite as bad as I did last time. Last time I ate a bunch of it. I didn't eat any this time, but I will have to take shower again this month. That was not a disaster at all, so we're gonna take this off. Hopefully this falls off easily. It did. Last one. Now for the pan. I hate this. There. Nice. Now I have to clean all of this for the new RTV. Looks like it was done before, and they didn't use gasket either because no one likes it. This is the filter. We will be replacing this filter. Looks like it has is that Torx? Yeah, they are Torx. Let me see what these are size. Looks like either Torx or Allen. It's covered with fluid, so it's hard to see. It's probably T10s. We'll find out soon. So this looks relatively clean, but pay attention to this. Watch very carefully. That's all metal. And this is a magnet, and I'll have to clean all that off. So even though it looks clean, you do have a lot of metal shavings. Clean, okay, paper towel, and let's see how dirty this really is, or how much metal shaving there is. That's all metal. This is all metal. Metal. That's all the metal. Came from the transmission. All right. Every time I do one of these trans flushes, I have to throw a towel because I cover it with all grease. I'll just use paper towel on this one for now. Magnet goes on the ground. This isn't so bad, that's why I'm not using a paper towel on it yet. I mean the real towel on it yet. Now I'll be scraping off all the RTV.
So what are you doing?
So I like to do this in 2 stages. Put the RTV all around the edge and make sure you go around all these bolts. But first I like to lay it on thick, then I like to make it nice and flat using that pick. So I'm on the first stage, putting thick amount of RTV. I'm using, I don't know if this is the best one, but ultra black works pretty good. So once I'm done with this, I'm just gonna flatten it out. You can stop recording. This is not at all going quite as well as I planned, but that's the idea. Make it nice and flat. It's flat, it's not nice yet. It will be when I'm done with it. Right, this is not at all clean, but it doesn't need to be. It's a little bit thicker than I would normally make it, but I prefer it to be a little bit thicker than thinner. And I'm going to let it sit for an hour, and after that hour I'm going to tighten all the nuts and bolts, and after a day It says 24 hours, but I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tighten it all the way to the proper torque and put some fluids back in, and that'll be the end. All right, these are T25s. I thought they were T10s, but they're not. Again, you should not use power tools on these. Do as I say, not as I do. There should be a little bit of splash here. Let's hope we don't eat any. Is there more? There shouldn't be any more.
Yeah, right there.
Where?
Screw. Is that it? Right there? Yeah, right.
That's for something else. Where's the... No.
No, that's it.
That should be it. This is the new part. And it goes in like such. So it's just a matter of pulling it out. I hope. It ain't coming off. Alright, I'm clearly doing something wrong. Does this need to come off? I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Should I take it off?
Sure. It looks like some sort of bracket.
Yeah, I see a bracket to stop the plug. I'm gonna take it off. Know what the hell it is. Supposed to be there. Oh, it should come off though. The bracket's not doing anything. It should come off. I don't want to break it. That would be just terrible. There you go. It was on there very tight, which is a good thing. The idea is to take the old one out, put the new one in, but it's on there very tight. I may not be able to take it out, but I'm going to try to damage it as much as I can. It's on there tight, man. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not gonna take it off. It's on there really well, and it clearly had good seal on it, so I'm not gonna take it off. But this is it. This is the piece that should be replaced. I'm not going to do it because I think I'm going to do more damage taking it off than just leaving it on there. Dirt and stuff on it. What size is this?
Take the air filter apart.
You recording?
Yeah.
Alright, so the air filter cover used to be right here, and the cameraman was not doing his job at all. So we removed the fill cap for the engine oil. Then I drained it. It was a 13 millimeter. After I drained it, the filter, oil filter is right here. These are oil. I don't know if I just said fuel. Sometimes I say the wrong things. Anyway, it's a 15/16. I don't know what that's in millimeter, but that's what I had. That's what it worked. 20 mil didn't work for me, so I removed this cover because I'm going to change the air filter anyway. So once I remove this, I pull the filter out. It looks like this, and we will be replacing that part of it. Flat part goes on the bottom, sticking out part goes on the top. Now I'm going to get the new one from Fram TG10955. It comes with the O-ring. I'll be replacing the O-ring as well. It's a good idea to replace the O-ring. Make sure you loop the O-ring when you put it in, because you don't want it pinching or cracking. So I'll go switch it out now. It helps to have a pick. I like to take it out with a pick. I already put that away, so screwdriver. This will work just fine. That's the old one. This is the new one. That's in place. Now you would want to lubricate it with some oil before you install it, and just grab oil from wherever. Drain pan. Oil here. There's some oil. That's it. You don't need much. Install the new one. Now put it back where it goes. Yeah. Now time to replace the air filter. This looks really nice, and why did they do that? Oh, this is dirty. This may not look that dirty, but wait. I'm gonna put this very nice cheap air filter. I'm joking, I don't know if it's cheap, but the best one I could get my hands on. That's the difference. You can see if it's dirty or not. So, time to replace it. It's very simple to replace. Throw the old one away and put the new one in. Very gently. And my job is done. By the way, it held on together with three clips here, there, and here, and that side just slides in. So when you're putting it in, you just gotta be careful. If you care about it, which I don't. There, perfect. And the last one. Okay, there's that. Put this intake hose on because I took it off. You don't want to have a gap there because you'll have some evap faults. Check engine light come on for that stuff. And just tighten it. So it's been sitting for about an hour, and as you can see, I can touch it. It's still soft, but it's somewhat dry. So it's perfect for going in and hand tighten. All right.
Do you need to clean this?
This is already clean. I cleaned it with brake cleaner. Now I'm just going to clean the surface for the transmission bottom of it. But first, I want to start with the sneezing. I thought I was going to sneeze, but I'm not. So screw it. Let's clean this. All right, let it sit for maybe 10 seconds. Moving these. I don't know how this is going to work out. Let's find out. Come on, go in there. Start on two sides just to hold it, then put the rest of it in slowly, but don't tighten anything yet, just placeholder. Stupid thing. Why is it not stopping? It should. There we go.
So what are you doing now?
I am just hand tightening it, and I'm going crisscross, not doing them next to each other. And you will see, as soon as you see those RTVs sticking out from the side, that's where you want to stop. That's tight enough for that location. And then I'm gonna let it sit overnight.
So why do you have to leave it for a whole day?
That's how long it takes for it to cure RTV, and it's on the packaging instruction.
What happens if you don't do it?
What happens is what happened to the last guy when he didn't do it. It will squeeze in tight, but you're not going to have the gasket type seal. It'll be okay, but it's not going to be very good. So what you want to do tomorrow is maybe one and a half turn. You don't have to tighten anymore. There, nice and steady level of RTV sticking out all around. Today I decided that's safe enough for what I gotta do. That's one jack to lift up the whole thing. So it's been about 24 hours since I installed this pan for the trans fluid with the RTV. So today I just came in and torqued it down. I didn't actually use a torque wrench. I just felt for what I think is tight enough. It took about half turn to one turn more, and I have little bit RTV sticking out around the edges, which is I think pretty much perfect. Also I replaced that. This is for the engine oil drain. The nut was really stripped, so I think that's a M14 1.5 13 millimeter. So I'll show a picture of that a little bit later. So I'm done here. I will start adding fluid. I'm done with torquing everything down, so now it's time to add some fluid. I will be adding here. I'll show you this. I'll use Castrol Edge 5W30 for this car. I will use the synthetic additive for oil, also Lucas. I'll use Lucas trans fluid additive and power steering additive. I used also for transmission I'll use ATF4 from Mopar, which is for Chrysler. For filters for transmission, here's the part number I used from Mopar. For cabin air filter, this is the one. Here are the part numbers. For engine oil filter, this is the one, and here's the part number. And I also replaced the bolt for oil drain pan because it was stripped, and here's the size for that. M14 1.5, and it's a 13 millimeter. So I'm gonna start adding some fluids. I just finished adding fluids. Engine oil took the full gallon. I think this is a 5 quart and 1 quart of the additive, so 6 quarts. I checked it and it's at safe level. You want it to be right here. So first I added the oil, then I run the engine for a little bit, then turn it off, let it sit for about a minute or two, then measure it. For power steering, I drained out the container and filled it up to the max with the additive. The fluid needs to be changed. I'll do that next time. For trans fluid, so far I added 4.5. There's another quart, half quart in the box, but I did 4.5. Looks like it needs more, so I'm going to warm up the engine and measure it again. I also added seafoam to the gas tank. Normally I would also check brake. It looks dirty, but I flushed the brake line last year, and the radiator I would also check, but this was recently changed as well. It was completely flushed, so I don't have to do anything, just have to make sure it has enough, which I can see from the side. It's hard to see with the camera, but it has enough. Normally I would add something to washer fluid, but I ran out, so I don't care. That's it for now, and now I have to reset the lights. I don't know if it has one, so I'll have to find out and reset all the service information. All right, I think this is it for now. Very last thing remaining is to replace the cabin air filter. It's located behind the glove box. To pull it down, you squeeze in from both sides, and this will slide out. Also, there is a hook with a wire that's attached to the left side, right in that hole, that needs to be removed. Then there's a plastic tab placed like this, and just push in from two sides, this side and that side, and this will come out. Then you will find the air filter. This one looks kind of dirty, well, really dirty. That's the new one, and this is the old one. So there's a side-by-side comparison. And when you're installing the new air filter, pay attention to the direction, because there's usually always a airflow direction. There, on this vehicle, air looks like it's flowing downward, so there will also be indications on the housing itself. So now I'll just install it and put everything back together. I'm at the side of the service drive, and I just pulled over and I had to add 2 more quarts, so now I'm total of 6 quarts, so that should be enough. And I'm monitoring the temperature of the, I don't really care too much about the engine oil temperature. I'm using a diagnostic tool to monitor the transmission oil temperature, and this is just warming up, so I'm going to take it for a drive and see how that works out. Looks like we reached the operating temperature for today. Ambient temperature is 65, engine oil temperature is 188, and transmission oil temperature is right there, 156. That's good enough for me to measure the level. So I used the tool I bought online, and I just used the dipstick right there, and this is reading exactly at 50. It's hard to see, but it's reading exactly at 50 millimeter, which is pretty much perfect. So I am all done with this van service. It was fun. I don't want to do it again. Cameraman Fahad,
Mhm.
what are you going to pay me as labor for doing all this work for you?
McDonald's French fries.
Continue guessing what you were guessing before. What is the most likely payment for this?
It'd be like 10 lunches, work on the house, clean the car. I don't know, it could be any of those.
What
Get-
other choices could there be?
Plumbing, get some poop in your mouth.
That's kind of gross.
Not sure. Possibly get electrocuted by doing some electrical work. I don't know. You never know with you. That's my guesses.
You sell my MDX.
Oh my god!
That's a fair deal, isn't it?
If that's fair to you, sure.
No, you tell me. Or you would rather pay cash?
How much is cash?
I don't know.
I'll help you sell it anyways.
I know, so it's not like
It's
I said.
either way, I'm gonna have to sell it.
Yep, that's what I said. I'm gonna make you an offer you cannot refuse.
Alright, fine.
Sounds like a fair deal?
If it sounds like a fair deal to
You tell me.
to me, it's fine. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
sell it. Yeah.
You're gonna sell it either way.
Yeah.
You can buy me a lunch.
You
You
might
can sell
you might not get the price you want for the car, but I'll sell it.
You'll sell it for a good price and buy me a lunch. How about that?
Good price is objective.
Dude, you're gonna feel guilty if you sell it for less. You know that. I'm gonna guilt trip you for the rest of your life.
I'll get you lunch too.
Alright, that sounds like a fair deal. Alright.